Hellfire Radio.
Stop beating up your expensive sunglasses on or off the job. Frontline Optics is a sunglass brand based out of San Diego, designed for first responders. If you're like me, you're constantly breaking and scratching your expensive designer sunglasses at work. Frontline Optics offers a no-questions-asked replacement program to cover your lost or damaged sunglasses. When the time comes to get yours replaced, all you need to do is cover a $12 service fee and they'll ship a brand new pair to your door. No questions asked. Additionally, a portion of all sales is donated to the First Responder Children's Foundation. Frontline shades are polarized and they offer free shipping and returns, so you can try them out risk-free. Check them out at frontlineoptics.com or on Instagram at frontlineoptics. While you're there, use discount code THESIZEUP for 15% off. That's code THESIZEUP, one word, for 15% off. Frontline Optics, sunglasses designed with the frontline in mind. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to episode 62 of The Size Up by National Fire Radio, because what you do off the job matters. And I honestly think I got the intro down now. Like, that's the opening. I think it is, like, every week. I finally got that part worked out. I really got to work on the outro, though. I don't know. Like, and it's not like, I'm not really, like, tired at the end of these. I just can't come up with something really cool to say. It never works. And maybe it's because I don't want it to end, right? Because I talk about, you know, the importance of this podcast to me and to meeting the guest and to really wanting to keep it to an hour. I feel like that's like a great time for this. I know there's long form podcasts that go, Jocko's episode with Schwarzenegger's like 4 hours long. I'm like not even a quarter way through it, I don't think. But I like this hour. Maybe I don't want it to end. And I'm just sad at the end that I have to like leave my guest and it sucks. So I will work on that. I promise you that. But let's get right to my guest today. I'm really excited. This person reached out to me to be like, hey, I got some time. I'd love to come on the podcast and talk about what it is I do. I've been a fan of what he does for a while now. And I actually tried to meet him last year at FDIC. He doesn't even know this. But every time I walked by his booth, either he was already talking to somebody or somebody like grabbed me. And it just never happened. So it was funny when he reached out, I immediately knew what he looked like because I'm like, that's the dude I wanted to talk to last year to try to get into my booth. So Thomas from the Burn Box, what is happening, buddy?
What's going on? What's going on? Good morning. Hello, everyone. First, let me say it's nice to virtually meet you, even though I did meet you. FDIC was a doozy. It was my first time there, I think. And wow. But I'm so grateful to be here. I've been a huge fan. And I'm so glad to share, a little bit about me today.
Yeah, it was cool. And like literally, and we could have met honestly really quickly, but I didn't get into it with you like I had planned on. I think we had like a quick bumping into each other. And I think that's one of the funny things at FDIC is it's just so effing massive. You just can't see everybody you want to see, right?
It was my first time ever doing a show, and I think I should have did baby steps. I should have did like a smaller. It was a lot to get thrown in there.
Were you alone? Like you ran your booth by yourself, or did you have someone with you?
So I brought my brother with me, and he's not a firefighter. He's not in the fire. He's not in the space at all. So it was tough because like I'd walk away for a second, and he's like calling the tools the wrong name. He was calling like carabiners, canopies, and it was terrible. So I couldn't leave the booth. I had to stay there. But
it's so hard, right? And it's these things no one tells you, So FDIC. It was not when we started 555. It was not one of our first shows. We had gone to some smaller shows first. But when we got there and we had a team of people. We had this huge plan, and that plan changed about 50 times that weekend as to how it was going to go. So when you get there with your brother who's not in the fire service to run your booth, I'm sure you were like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, he told me we drove down there. It was 11 hours. He told me, don't worry, I got it. I tried to give him the spiel, he's like, nah, I got it. Because he's seen me packing boxes and stuff, and he had no idea what he was talking about. No idea. And you have to use the bathroom, You have to leave the booth. You can't stand there all day,
You would be done. What does your brother do, if you don't mind me asking? Like just
he's like a manager. He's nothing crazy. He's a manager at a supermarket out in Manhattan, New York.
Okay. So he's thinking, I talk to people all the time. I can sell products, right? Like I can do this. I can totally hear this conversation between you and him. And then probably after like your first bathroom break and you overheard him coming back, you're like, what did I do to myself?
I couldn't fire him either because I needed him. I was by myself.
You can't throw him out of the booth. Like you still have to be able to go to the bathroom. And I don't think, again, because FDIC is coming up, you're going to be there again, right?
Yes, sir.
Same place.
Same place. They're trying something different. Did you hear about the firefighter role?
I did. I will be in the middle of firefighter row. We will have a little setup going there. I can't necessarily speak to how it's going to exactly go yet because we're still working that out. But we won't be very far off from where you are.
Okay, yeah, I'm really excited. I think this is the first that they're doing, and it's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah,
It makes it easy for me to find products because all the firefighters are right there. But
it does, which again, for what you do, and we're definitely going to talk about the burn box later, but for what you do, a show like FDIC, it's like a 50-50 split for you to leave the booth and go and meet vendors and people with products versus staying in the booth to promote your products, your
yeah,
product.
it was a challenge. It was a challenge. But you build the plane as you fly it. But
I have never heard that saying before in my life, but I absolutely love it. And I feel like it's now going to be the title of this episode because, yeah, you build the plane as the plane as you fly it, but hopefully you don't, or hopefully you don't crash it along the way, right? So here we go, right? We're talking about showing up at the big show, technically for firefighters, FDIC, and different things happening, like Thomas kind of having his brother out there. And here's another issue that I have no idea why he got a notification on his calendar, and it kind of locked him out of the podcast for a second there. But these are the things that happen, and what do? We adapt, we overcome, we move on, and hopefully Sebi can edit that little part out where it's not a big long pause of me going, I can hear you, I swear. But you really think it's one of these things with being a business owner or a small business owner is you think you have it all down and something new appears,
oh man, that is the truth, man. That is the truth. Oh, if I can talk about the burn box a little bit, because I just had something crazy happen this week, and I kind of
Sure.
don't into it yet, if no one
Let's
even
go.
knows what it is. So I'll just if just let me know if you want me to stop at any point, but I'll just start from the beginning. So I started as an EMT when I was 18. I wasn't the greatest student in high school, and I was shy like 10 credits for graduation. And there was a program where you can get your EMT card and you rest your credits to get your diploma. So they recruited me in. It was a tough program because you had to keep a certain score and you had to pass everything. You couldn't be late. You couldn't miss any days for a year. And once you pass, you go right into the FDNY EMS Academy, TOPS class.
So wait, I'm gonna go back because I'm gonna hit you up with this because you said it, and this is a good point to make. Were you not a good student because you weren't interested in what you were learning? Were you not a good student because you were lazy? Do you not want to tell me? But like, listen, I agree. I was not a good student in high school. I went to EMT class at 16, and that class was effing hard as hell, but I wanted it, right? So I did the work. So maybe can you talk a little bit about your high school type times or no?
Yeah, you know what? If I had to be completely honest, and I'm ashamed to say it, I was just really immature and I would go to school and I would just joke around and I would go there and have fun. Maybe I wasn't challenged enough, but I can honestly look back and say I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't like getting into fights or anything. I would just go to class and goof around all the time. I wouldn't
Sure.
take anything serious, but once I realized I wasn't graduating and all my friends were going to leave, it put things in perspective.
Listen, everybody needs a slap in the face every now and again, right? And if that's what it was, some kids change at 13, some kids change at 20 something. I mean, you've been on the job for a while now. We hire people at the max age it took their slap in the face to be then. So, that's a good point to make to everyone, that can come whenever.
I look back now, it's kind of silly. Like I might as well have just cut class because I would have got the same grades. Like I was going to class, I just wasn't doing anything there. It was
So,
yeah,
so you actually feel more like stupid
yeah,
about your
yeah,
stupidity, where it's like, why was
yeah.
I showing up here to goof off when I could have been hanging out doing nothing?
But I had an older brother who also went in the program before me, so I kind of knew about it. And once I realized, all right, I'm not graduating. That was an option, and I took it. And yeah, everything made sense then. And it started. I'm like, listen, I got to make something of myself. I can't, just goof off with everything. So
It's great,
that's
man.
what I
So
joined.
you go to that program, and after you finish that program, you finish high school and you head to the FDNY EMS Academy.
Yes, so I graduated that program like June 1st, and like I was in the academy like the 20th of June. So they put you right in, because you're taught by the FDNY like EMS Academy, because that's where the high school program was. It was on the campus of the academy in Fort Totten. So all the stuff really, we kind of knew it because they taught us all the FDNY. We learned the FDNY way. So it's not like
Sure.
somebody coming from somewhere else where you have to learn. You go to this top class to learn the FDNY way and bring you up to their standards. That's how I was broke in because that's the course we went. It was a mini TOPS class. It was a mini EMS Academy for that whole year. So kind of flew through that, and I started working in Brooklyn as an EMT. I did that for about 5 years. I'll be honest with you, I liked it. I liked it. I didn't mind working as.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with saying you like doing EMS, right? There's absolutely nothing wrong. I liked doing EMS when I did it. I liked the medicine. I liked the chance to help people in that way, to use this knowledge and skills that I received, right? It's okay to say that. I just don't
Yeah,
want to do that job anymore.
yeah, yeah.
Is
Oh,
that an
like,
easy way to put it?
yeah, that's exactly right. Like if you have a good partner, and like for me, if you have a good partner and you're both doing the right thing, it makes the day so much better. It makes everything like smooth. I would sometimes the where I used to work. I'll just speak for the borough I was working. It was just very crab in a barrel kind of
Hmm.
like we were kind of mean to each other, which kind of when I became a firefighter was like night and day. But I didn't hate being an EMT. I had good partners, and like you said, you get to help people.
And you have
So
to keep that in mind too, that like for EMS wise, like when you're showing up to start your shift, you have to be prepared for like the worst day of your life. Like you have
yeah,
to be prepared for like the worst shift ever. You could be running all day. You may not eat. You may not have time to pee. And I
yeah,
feel like the people that come in without that attitude, like it just doesn't work for them. They
yeah,
become that bad partner.
yeah. But I learned a lot. I had some good partners. But right when I got there, uh, so FDNY has you could take the open competitive, become a firefighter, and you could take the promotional exam. Promotionals offered to EMTs and paramedics for the FDNY, where you basically get put on like a short list.
Mhm.
Where your list is just amongst other EMTs and paramedics in the FDNY versus you going against the other 100,000 people who took the test. The FDNY exam comes once every 4 years. I think the promotional at that time, I could be wrong now. It's been a bit. I think it's every 2 years they have a promotional exam. But so all my coworkers were getting ready for this. They were talking about how great fire is. They're telling me that I see them working out. They'll talk everyone. That's all we talked about at my station was fire, and I was like, "Yo, this sounds really interesting. I think I could do this." So that's kind of how I found out about fire suppression and all that stuff. That's how I got into it, and that's kind of I took the promo. I did okay, and then became a paramedic briefly for a year. So I did 5 years as an EMT. I don't even know. I don't even know if I could say I was a paramedic. I took the test. I went to class. I passed. I passed the final, and then like a week later, I went into the fire academy because they called me.
Oh,
So
listen, man, you passed the class, so you could say you're a paramedic.
uh,
I'm sort of in the same boat. I was
somebody's
only a
gonna
medic.
watch this and say, "No, he's not."
Well,
Liar.
there's definitely some crusty old paramedic that's like that guy is not a paramedic. Listen, I only worked as a medic for like 4.5 years. And sometimes feel the same way you do that like I can't say I was a medic, but I was. I took that class, I passed it. It's challenging as hell.
Was
Um, like EMT on steroids is the easiest way to put it. And when people
yeah.
complain about EMT, I'm like, yes, you're right. EMT is very hard, but that
Yeah.
next level is just a whole new level of stuff.
Yeah, I don't do anything with my paramedic now. It kind of expired and kind of irks me a bit because it was a tough program and I did really well for 9 months and just for that to be I got a lot of things going on, but
For sure, but it's something to be really proud of, right? That you did it, and you have that just as another thing that you did. A kid who was a couple credits short of high school because he goofed around so much, right? And to me, I'm like, I'm all about the story, man, right? So I'm all about this, and then trying to hope that people are listening and understanding this, right? And for the folks that don't know, the FDNY EMS is a very, I feel like, big springboard into the FDNY to the fire suppression side. However, it's also a very big springboard into a promotional process to bring you up the ladder, just like on the suppression side, where you don't see that in many EMS divisions around the country.
yep. Yeah, it's good. So yeah, Paper medic, they call me.
I
But
did. I will say something I don't know if I've ever said on a podcast, but I did turn down an FDNY EMS job
really?
many moons ago. Yeah, pre 1999, I want to say. I took the test for the FDNY. It was pre 9/11. I can just date it then, and it was one of the first times they were offering like EMT jobs to people that had their EMT and took the FDNY test, but
Oh,
didn't
okay.
come out high enough to get in that first group of hirings or second group of hirings. So
I
it was
see.
kind of like, hey, take this job, work, and then take the test, kind of like you did, the springboard over.
Yeah.
But at that time, the FDNY EMS, it was not what it is today, let's say. And a lot of
Yeah.
people were like, you don't want to go work there. Like, stay where you're at, keep testing. Trust me, you don't want to go work there. This could actually screw you in other ways. And I didn't do it. And maybe it's a regret, maybe it's not. Who knows? I'm happy where I am now, but it could have been one of those things like kind of you did. So you become the paper medic. You spring into the fire service, and what happens next?
Yeah, so I graduated Fire Academy. A lot of fun. I get sent to East New York, Brooklyn. I started out my career in engine 290, ladder 103. I was assigned to the engine. Um, I did 5 years in the engine. I could hear. I'm sorry, as I'm talking, I could hear the guys in the firehouse. Like I could hear their voices. Time drop, like making fun of me. So I did 5 years in the engine, and that's kind of what started my business, the burn box. When I got to my firehouse, you ever see those Halligan bottle openers there?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
Halligan bottle openers out there. Like one of the guys in my firehouse, he owned that company.
I know him.
Another guy had,
I've met him.
firefighters are the most creative bunch of people, and they're always making stuff. There was a couple tools on the rig that guys kind of manufactured for, like a different type of hydrant plug. For some reason, I just searched firefighter-owned products on I just hashtag firefighter-owned on Instagram, and so many product came up. There's a million guys doing wedges. There's a million guys doing apparel, t-shirts. There's guys doing all sorts of other tools. There's guys doing there's a whole bunch of firefighter-owned stuff out there. And I was like, it'd be so cool if I could curate all these products and make a monthly shipment. And that's kind of how the burn box started. And that's kind of what the burn box is. The goal was to if there's a guy, if one day I get to 10,000 subscribers and a guy making a tool in his garage that could be really helpful, I can get that out to 10,000 people. I thought that'd be really, really cool. And that's kind of what started the burn box, and that's kind of what I do.
It's for sure. It's that brothers helping brothers mentality, right? Where, a lot of people in the firefighter owned world look at each other as competitors. And in one way or another, you are competitors. If you're making a wedge and someone else is making a wedge, they're your competitor, right? If I'm making a podcast and someone else is making a podcast, you're my competitor. However, the collaboration with us working together can make us both better if we can just get around that you're my competitor theory.
Yeah. Yeah. So I understand exactly what you mean. I think there is, even though it's a small niche, like the fire community compared to all these other products and businesses out there, I think there's a lot of space for us to grow. I'm sure because you've been around a while, so you know how guys can be catty with one another.
No, never.
But the goal is just to kind of spread the word and discovery. There's plenty of tools that I featured every month that I get messages from my subscribers saying I didn't even know this existed. And that's kind of what I like. I get messages from people saying, "Yo, thanks for sending that tool. I used it twice already."
So what do you put in a monthly burn box? Let's kind of start there.
So what I try to do is every month I try to make sure you have something functional, like a functional tool or a piece of gear that you could use. Like I want something that you could, get on the rig with when you get your box, something. So whether a tool will be, I've done metal wedges, I've done, shove knives, we've done pliers, we've done multi-tools, hose straps. We try to do something functional. And then I try to make it satisfying. So I also put a piece of apparel in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done t-shirts, I've done hats, I've done belts from firefighter-owned companies. And then I got a couple support items. That's where you get your tumblers, you get your your bottle openers, you get your your bags and stuff like that. I
Your
try to make it a
off-duty gear.
satisfying package.
That's good though, but it's really a good thing, right? And it's hard with that functional piece of equipment because it has to fit in the box. I would
Oh man,
imagine that's probably the hardest piece.
oh man. The last 2 months, I have these boxes that I ship. Last 2 months, I had to ship in different plain boxes because I've sent a bag and I don't want to. I guess I don't want to spoil it today, but but
This
it's
one's
because
coming out next Tuesday, so if it's not going out before then, don't spoil it. But
oh,
that's a huge part of the, for lack of a better term, the headache, right? Of trying to find the right stuff that all fits in a box that you can ship for a certain price to wherever you need to ship it.
oh man. See, as you're talking, I'm getting like flashback. I'm getting sweaty because it is stressful. Because you have to find, you know how it is in the firehouse, guys. You have to find something that guys are going to want. So number one, it's unfortunate. Some people have products that then I'm not going to say they're not good products, but it's just not it's not a real functional fit. Like some people make things that they try to fix a problem that doesn't exist,
Yep.
and I have to keep goodwill with my subscribers. So I can't just put. I know you're a firefighter and you have a product, but I can't just put anything in the box. So
Yeah.
that's
That's
a
a,
challenge. No, because no one wants to hear their baby's ugly whenever they want to submit a product. But I try to make it something that I could see myself using or I could see value in, even though I may not necessarily use it. It has to be functional. Like starting this business opened my eyes, man. I didn't know nothing about volunteers. I didn't know nothing about how other people work in other states. But like simple things, other places people have to pay for their own equipment.
yeah.
1 month I had a couple people reach out said they wanted webbing, and I couldn't understand why they wanted webbing because we get webbing for free. I'm like, what do you want webbing for? Then I see multiple people message they want webbing. I'm like, okay, if that's what the people want. But it just opened my eyes to a lot of stuff about a lot of departments that I didn't really know.
I think that's a big part of running a business and getting involved in the greater fire service, right? Because you're on one of the biggest fire departments in the world, but there's still loads of other people out there doing things the same way you're doing them differently and having different problems that they want to overcome. And I think when we become entrepreneurs and get into this world, that learning is probably more valuable than any other thing you can get in life.
Yeah, for sure. And that also, I try to explain that to my subscribers as best I can, but they don't really care. They just want a box of stuff. But like, if I put
Nobody
something,
reads the fine print, man.
if I put webbing in the box, somebody might receive that and say, "Why am I getting this? This is silly." But not understanding that this subscription goes all across the United States.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal when you start to, again, get out there like at a show like FDIC and you meet different people and you hear about their department and how they function versus how you function. And look, that works for them and what you do works for you. But if you can learn something from them and they can learn something from you, then it's a win. And it's the same as, say, a simple piece of webbing. If you get a simple piece of webbing, you're like, why did I get this? Clearly you're maybe not paying attention to all the things you can do with webbing. And you can take that little simple piece, do a Google search, and learn loads of things you can do with it, right?
Yeah. Another challenge, another challenge I have is the box is about $55, $65, taxes and all that stuff. So a good pair of gloves is going to run you $80, man. $100 for suppression glove.
Easily.
A good knife is going to be $60. A flashlight, like these things are expensive, and I'm trying to make a satisfying package for $65. Like some people want the entire kitchen sink, and I try my best, but
So you also in your writing that no one pays attention to is you have to explain profit margins and
yeah,
how those things work and cost of goods and what a
yeah,
landed cost is, right? And what a shipping cost is. These were all things, I'm not gonna lie to you, I knew nothing about prior to getting involved with 555 and then deciding, hey, let's make a t-shirt. How simple is that? But no one tells you the cost of goods, the cost of screen printing, the cost of shipping, and then, hey, I need to make a little bit back for my business or my not for profit.
yes. Not even like you want to take the money and run. It's not like a money grab, but like you need to you got to keep things running. Yeah, I
Yeah, you
think
have to keep the lights on, right? You have to pay for your website. You have to pay for social media. You have to pay for promotion. You have to pay to even the FDIC thing when people talk about it. Right? You have to pay for your booth. You have to
whew,
get yourself there. So you have the cost of fuel. And I said it before, but I don't know if you heard me. The drive from the East Coast to Indianapolis is miserable.
yeah.
Miserable. I've done it twice. Or you have to pay to fly. And there is no like, hey, United, I'm a firefighter. discount. Like I should fly for free. I'm going to the largest fire conference in the world. Duh. Like you're gonna charge me to fly? No, that's not how it works. And then when you're at FDIC, you have to stay, you have to eat. I'm
Yep,
sure you had to feed your brother. Like
yep,
you couldn't let him starve the whole time.
yep.
All of these things go into it, and it's just not that simple.
Yeah, it's a lot. But you know what? I understand. I hope it didn't sound like I was complaining. I'm
No,
very
not at all,
grateful.
man. This is not
Yeah,
complaining. This
no,
is real life, man. This is totally
I'm
real life.
listening. Like this is what I signed up for. Yeah, but if I can give a little insight, a little bit behind the scenes,
It's a
what's
big
going on.
part of it because people don't they especially today, right? In today's society, they see a flashy picture on social media, they see your cool logo with the fire and name. They need to hear the backstory of it. They need to see the person behind it, in my opinion. That kind of value and even understanding what you're saying, trying to curate a very good box each month is very complicated.
Yeah.
Here I am thinking you just threw stuff in and was like, oh, this is going out this month. Ah, this is going out
And
next
that
month.
would that
Like,
would be easy. Maybe I should pivot. But so, like things happen. Like speaking of behind the scenes, like I had a box that's supposed to go out. That's supposed to go out like next week, and there was a miscommunication with the vendor. The product didn't show up. It should be there already. I'm like, hey, dude, you got tracking? And he says it's gonna be there mid-April. I'm like, dude, you told me mid-March. I shouldn't send him a screenshot of our message. I'm like, you told me mid-March, and he's usually on the money. And it's like, now where do I find 2,000 products to fill boxes by next week? And the
yeah.
customers don't care. They
Nope.
just want their stuff. So
It's so hard and that's a big part of this too that people don't understand is trying to stay ahead, right? Like I had just told you before we signed on, I had a podcast we just couldn't record the other day. We tried 8 million different things and it just didn't happen. Um, that would have kept me ahead and it didn't. And then today, I'm like, oh God, if I don't record today, I have a problem next week. I have to get something in a short amount of time. And even when you think you're ahead, I have 3 scheduled next week. But if one goes down, I got to figure that out. The same as with you and products.
yeah,
And it's that unglamorous life that no one wants to talk about publicly. We talk about it together, like you
yeah,
and I'll talk about it on the side, but you never put it out there.
and also balance, right? So I'm still working full time in the firehouse. I got 3 boys. I have a 12, 7, and a 2-year-old, and
Oof.
a beautiful wife. So it's like, I'm actually at a new firehouse. About 2 years ago, I transferred to Squad One in Brooklyn, and you're the new guy there, so you have responsibilities there. You have a lot to learn, and you're trying to run a business. Again, these aren't complaints. I'm just
Mhm.
saying that it's just
It's a
a
big
lot to
deal.
manage in
Yeah.
entrepreneurship.
And you're trying to, like you said, balance all this, right? Balance your family, balance being that new guy. For folks that may not know, I do have a lot of like not fire service listeners. What Thomas is talking about going to Squad One in the FDNY is in the Special Operations Group, so that has more equipment on it, let's say, and more things to learn, just different disciplines that we have here in the fire service. So he's trying to balance that life with his family life, with his business life. And it's really hard to balance 3 things if you ever seen, a scale with 3 sides on it.
Yeah. I think it's the firefighter mentality. Like whenever you see something like, yeah, I'll figure it out, right? And then you start, and you're like, oh man, you're not in the thick of it. Like, before I started, like if you told me this like 5 years ago, I'd be like, nah, I'm gonna crush it. Don't worry, But
It's so easy, but that is what we do, right? That's what makes us good firefighters, in my opinion. People have a problem and we solve it. And we feel like we can do that with every problem out there. And until you have the realization that that is not necessarily the case, you're not able to just fix your marriage like you were able to fix that smoke detector that was going
yep,
off. The folks in the house didn't know they had to disconnect. They had a bad one and they had to disconnect it. You knew that. It doesn't
yeah,
work for your marriage. It doesn't work for your kids. It doesn't work for your small business.
yeah. But overall, I'm still having fun. I'm still trying my best to support firefighter-owned companies. Uh, I did run into a little problem. Right now, we're probably at 2,100, 2,200 subscribers now, and I'm very grateful for every single one of them. Um, yeah, I'm really grateful, man. But because
Can,
I honestly, when I started, I didn't even think anyone was going to sign up. I
can
swear
I
to God, I didn't think I was going to get anybody. And then just to see the support is just really unbelievable.
can I just build up your ego a little bit? because that's 2,200 packages you're sending out monthly, right? Can I
Miserable.
just like, and again, like you're curating this box, but that's 2,200 to I'm not sure I know of a firefighter business, and I'm sure they exist, but I could be wrong. Well, they definitely exist. I probably know of one or two, but that's shipping out that much monthly, mostly by themselves, let's say at this point, right? So those numbers for folks listening, that's crazy. Like that's
Well,
like Amazon level.
I used to pack the boxes out of my house, and it got so bad. My wife was like, "Listen, we need our living room back. Like, you know, enough's
The kids
enough."
need to play, man. The baby can't have a wedge in his hand
My son
anymore.
was putting toys in the boxes, so I get a picture, an email from a subscriber saying, "What is this?"
No,
Well, it's a little
I got a
action figure.
GI Joe. Yeah, I got a GI Joe, man. I didn't know this was coming this month. What's up with that?
Yeah, but
So
it's been a
there's
lot of
another
fun.
challenge, right? Is your growth, right? You're growing and you can't just do it out of your house anymore.
Yeah, not only so I ended up finding a partner to help me package, which is so huge, man. Oh man, it's like that first month orders went out and I didn't have to tape one box was like it felt the weight off my shoulders. But just I mean you understand. But as you grow you have other challenges, right? You don't know
Yeah.
what you don't know. So now you're paying somebody to pack your boxes, that's an additional cost, right? If you're not growing, you start paying for ads. Now that's an additional cost, which now you have to change your pricing. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens as you grow. Which again, you live and you learn. But a
And you
big
take some losses, right? There's definitely some losses in there because I know you are the type of guy who's like, I don't want to sound like a crier or a complainer. I can tell just even in the way you're answering me, right? But but that's not what you're doing. You're telling the truth of this story here, and I'm sure there's no way that you have not taken losses in this business. Like it's impossible.
so starting out, I was fortunate. I worked for the FDNY, so I could take more risk with the business because my livelihood wasn't affected by it.
Hmm.
So I'll be honest, that first year wasn't very good, and I didn't have that many subscribers. But the point was to prove the concept, to get people to buy in, to get more people signed up, in hopes that the more I grow, then it'll be there. And luckily, it's I'm not rolling in the dough or anything, but it's definitely starting to really turn around. So
And it's cool too because you see these like when you launched, I had known about like curated fitness boxes where you would get
yeah,
like different protein bars and fitness equipment. I know my wife had done some stuff like with makeup or hair product or um, and we even did a little bit of a time. It was really cool actually. I did like this one. She was doing it, and I then jumped on board where Nordstrom would send you clothes. Like they would
uh,
curate a box of outfits, and it's no secret that I like fashion. I like to look good when I go out, and this box was coming every month, and I was spending more money than I should have, let's say. Like I kept the coat that I was like, I'm keeping this coat, and it was very expensive, but I kept it anyway because it was badass. But I liked that type of a theory. And then whatever you didn't want, you sent back, and you weren't responsible for paying for it or buying the actual clothes. They stopped that, but there's so many of these programs out there. It's just cool to see one kind of in my own genre succeeding.
yeah, it's a lot of fun, and like I get the most joy when again when it's like a company just starting out, and I can help give them that exposure or something. And I love it when I get the emails and customers are like, I had no idea this existed, or people ask me, hey, where's that website? I want to grab another one. That's the best part. But
It's
speaking of
that helping out, That's it.
side
You're
note,
helping. Good.
you said your wife had a makeup one. There's a makeup company out there that they get it on both ends. Like the companies have to pay to get their stuff in the boxes, and then they sell the boxes to people. Like those guys. Maybe I should get into makeup.
Listen, if that's the way it works, right?
And maybe also rescue paint, like slip, like in a can or something like that. You know?
Like the buddy shot black, you could call it, right? Like, and you just put it on, and then you
That's it.
take your picture after, like, I was in the
Yep.
fire, man. I was doing it in there, bro. Look at my face. I cannot. Oh my God, I think we just came up with a new product here. Like, I'm
Yeah,
literally writing down the timestamp on
I'm
this. We need to get to market. Who can, I know some people, man. We can make buddy shot black right there, sold to you. I think I got a guy who could sell it too. So
yep.
we're running with that, man. I like that idea. Right. But that's something. So when I, again, with a not for profit and just learning different things about business, I became like a student of Shark Tank. And I even felt like before, like when you were talking a while ago, you were like the shark. telling me about like my business problems in a way, because you had all the stuff you said. I'm like, this makes total sense, and you just shut my business down. It was like you when you were talking about maybe people not having a good product or not
No,
having a product that fixed their problem, not a greater problem,
yeah,
right? But I didn't know at that time that like to get on shelves in stores, companies pay for that. Like you pay for your space in the grocery store.
all right, yeah, yeah. Thank God I'm on the internet. I don't. It's all e-commerce. You
Right?
know,
Like because that's just crazy to me. I'm like, what do you mean they have to pay to be on the shelf in Target? Like to get your product there, it's like you said with the makeup company, like they're paying to get it there, and these are all costs you don't even know about.
that's one thing that's also kind of like that's another problem that arose with this business is that I like helping. The goal is to help firefighter-owned companies, right? But I've grown up. I'm not trying to toot my own horn because there's a lot of companies that are huge, right? There's like dog subscriptions, like 10,000, 20,000 subscribers. But in my niche, like if let's say you have a product that you're making in your garage on your days off. If I came to you and said I need 2,200, 2,300 of that tool, it'll take you 6 months,
Yeah.
8 months to make it, which is a problem.
Yeah,
So I
especially if
kind
you're
of
just starting out and you're doing it by yourself. That is quadrupled your numbers, if not more. I don't even know where
when I
the
had
math is.
when I had 100 subscribers, it was easy to find stuff. I could call anybody the day before and have it. Now it's kind of if I don't have it lined up a couple months in advance, it ain't happening.
Yeah,
And
and
it sucks.
no one thinks about that either. You know what I mean? And even too at like FDIC, yeah, someone could be at FDIC for their first time, and that was their, let's say, nut getting out there. Then they can't go home after meeting you and be like, now I'm going to make 2,000 products in the next 2 months because
Yeah.
they need to keep selling after that. You know what I mean? Like they can't devote that time. So it's things you have to all think about.
Can we talk with friends, right? We could talk, right? So
We
like,
can, but everybody's listening. So remember,
oh,
whenever if you're going to tell me like my haircut or something and make it a little
oh
weird, but we
no,
can talk like friends here. It's just everybody's listening.
oh yeah, okay. Another problem is sometimes I try to reach out to brands and vendors. So let's say I work with a smaller firefighter-owned company, and they look at the potential that they would make if they sold things one off. So let's say you sell challenge coins, right? And you sell them $20 a piece. And I'm like, hey, this is fake numbers, right? Let's just
Yeah.
say, hey, I'll buy a bunch for $10. And you're like, listen, I could make X amount if I sold 2,000. But mind you, it will take you 2, 3 years to sell that many. You know,
Yep.
you're not
It's
selling that many.
it's the
It's
long game, right? They're not looking
it's
at the long game for that, right? Or even, you can get an influx right now with this to take you further to sell that next 2,000. This
and
has to be
exposure.
so you're not only you're not only curating the boxes, but you're also being the salesman to the salesman, right?
Yeah.
Essentially.
The goal is not to shake anybody down. Like I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible at it. I hate like I try to speak to everyone like they're a fireman. I just like give me your best number. Like I don't want to go back and forth. But the truth is like there is a benefit to exposure. There is a benefit to moving that many units, getting that product in so many people's hands. So that like when people have that mug with your logo on it, it's in the firehouse on the table, and in 2,000 different fire stations, and all those people are looking at it. If you have a sticker, if somebody's gonna slap that on their water bottle on their locker, it's a billboard. Like there's a benefit to it, but sometimes again, I try to work with firefighters, so some of them don't really understand it really, but it's all part of the game.
I don't know if I should say this now or say it privately, but I'm saying it now. Like, do you have any companies, like fire companies, like Engine 224 is a subscriber to the box and it just comes into the firehouse? So like that product goes on the table. You know what I'm trying to say? Like everybody shares it. Like me and the four dudes, the other three dudes on my ladder company, we all split the cost that comes to the firehouse, and then we see the products. Do you have anybody doing that you know of?
Not that I know of, but now that you say that, I'm gonna write that down. That's an angle. Yeah. Just let me know how much I owe you for it.
Oh,
But
don't worry, I will. Don't worry. I have a consulting fee. Don't you worry about that, pal.
I do have a few people like for volunteer departments that they use it as an incentive.
Okay.
So I guess again, excuse my ignorance. I'm not too familiar, but I think the people have to turn out and they have to participate in the volunteer departments. And I
Yeah.
guess whoever does the most or does the most calls, I'm not sure exactly, but they use it as an incentive to reward the best
Which
You
is a
know,
really good incentive, right? It's better than a stupid plaque you hang on the wall, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like it's something that you're actually going to use. And volunteer recruitment and retention is one of the hottest topics in the fire service across the country because we can't deny it that volunteerism is down. You know, it's not a thing anymore, let's say, as it was. And they're always looking for new ways to get more volunteers. You know, I know one of the things when I was in the fitness world a lot, you know, way back when, we'll just use the terms way back when, and there was alcohol in firehouses, the bar was a big reason to go be a volunteer because you could drink for cheap there. So a lot of volunteer firehouses became a social point.
oh wow,
And as alcohol started phasing out of the fire service, which is, or I shouldn't say out of firehouses, which is a very good thing, they were losing an incentive to get people to come. And what we saw happening on the fitness side was it started to become gyms. So from like we used to make the joke like from the bar to the barbell,
uh,
because if you could be a volunteer and you had a full gym in the firehouse, it saved you money every month. You didn't have to pay whatever for a gym fee, and it actually put you in the firehouse
you're
more,
there already,
right?
right?
So it's more like you don't have that respond from home. So that was a big change. So I see kind of what you're doing and what you just said there, and thinking like as a volunteer fire station, listen, if you make 75% of the calls a month, you get the box. If you don't, you don't. You know what I mean? Type of a thing, or however you can figure out. But that's just another good way to keep people incentivized to doing it.
Yeah, yeah. It's I haven't really did. I should probably give it a little more attention and really flesh it out some more. But I do have a few people that I ship to the incentive boxes out to.
I like that. I mean, it even works on the career side in a way. You know what I mean? Like again, like splitting it with your company, or even as like you see people online, like they're getting like a plaque, or they're getting like a certificate that they did this. Why not give them again something functional? You know, something they can really use that goes into the job. And this is a good way to get a few different things to them.
I'm also trying to do some more like I want to do department bundles, kind of exactly like what you said for like maybe around the holidays, like everyone, why give a boring a $50 gift card and just give them a box, $50 box that has some functional stuff. It's different, you know.
Yeah, it's all things to think about, right? And it's all things that you never thought about before even starting this business, and that literally we just thought about one of them right here because that's what happens in this entrepreneur world, right? I don't know if you're a lot like me. My mind is never off. Like I'm
It's
always thinking.
just exhausting sometimes. I will.
Especially when I'm only chasing around two boys and they're older. You have three and a little one to chase around. So that exhaustion on top of chasing around your kids' exhaustion is beyond exhaustion.
It's really bad. I can't even watch a TV show without telling my wife, I'm like, hey, this is a good idea. What if like enough, enough.
They do support us in ways that you're just like what, but it's good too. You have that type of relationship. If she can just tell you enough and I should probably stop, right? Like
Because it's nonstop with me. It's nonstop.
it's hard too. And I never felt I was this type of person. I don't know if you were like that too, but I never felt like I was this type of, my mind's never off. It was just the way I always thought. And I didn't realize it until I got into this kind of a business.
But it's good, man. It's good. Good.
There's definitely nothing wrong with it, right? There's definitely nothing wrong with it at all. And
No,
then the other side of it too is we get to do the best job in the world, right? We get to
that
be firefighters in a job we love, or EMTs, paramedics, like, and do that job and enjoy it, right?
yeah, it's awesome. And the best part, I love also the brothers in the firehouse. Also, they'll find products for me. I get messages all the time from guys in the firehouse. Hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see that? Or I like to if I get somebody sends me a sample or something, I like to bring it to the firehouse. Just see what the guys think.
Yeah,
What
I'm
do you
sure
think
they're going
about
to
it?
give you an honest opinion.
Oh yeah, sure.
A very, very blunt and honest opinion for
Yeah,
sure in any firehouse. But that's good, right? Because you're able to cross your two lives together again, and you're gonna have the haters, I'm sure, like you kind of mentioned before, and you're also gonna have the supporters. And that's life, right? And it's all good lessons too to teach your kids.
yes, absolutely. You can't please everybody, but I try, right?
You do seem a little too nice for being from the greater New York area, I have to say.
Yeah.
So you're a little disappointing me in that end of your just a little too nice. Like you're more Midwestern nice. If I had to make a casual observation from our conversation here. Not that there's anything wrong with people from the Midwest. They're just really nice.
Yeah.
But you see that too, and so you're growing. You know, you're going to be at FDIC. I know you got a big box coming, but where do you see this in the next few years? You know, where do you want to be?
I think I don't know. I have some ideas. I'm still trying to get my sea legs with the growth that I had now. I'm at the point where I realize it needs full-time attention, and I'm not ready. I can't leave the fire department yet. So I'm trying to hire some staff. I've never hired anybody before, so I got a couple interviews going on. But hopefully, I don't know. Maybe it could morph into something where I'm already sending out tools and products. It could possibly morph into maybe me getting into that realm. Maybe making a few of my own products and tools. But I don't know.
It's interesting too. I didn't really think about it till you just said it, but you've seen so many products that like you can probably not copy those products, but you probably see where a void is.
Yeah.
Right? Like by seeing all the products come in and like just in general, like, oh my God, there's so many wedges. Well, I don't want to make a wedge. There's so many hose dragging tools, but there's nothing for this or that,
I did have something. I don't know how much time we got, but I did.
Don't say it on the podcast. Somebody will steal your idea though. So I don't want you to do
it's already live, but I started another subscription because I can't turn it off.
Okay.
It's a sickness. It's called the FD Collectors Club. I had this idea for a while. I didn't pull the trigger on it until recently, but I had a lot of folks come to my firehouse to buy like patches and coins and stuff. People from out of different countries will come by, and so I decided to do all the legwork, and I started a coin club where I basically call the firehouses, work out the deals, and buy coins and patches. And every month I'll ship out like a different coin and a different patch. And it's doing really well so far. It's a lot less stressful than a burn box, man. It's just one thing,
and it's small and it's easy to package.
But the hardest part is just getting the firehouses on board. When I call up, people hung up the phone. They said, "Call the station up the block." They hung up the phone. Yeah. But it's all good. It's just another way. Like I realized, if I send a burn box to somebody who's like, let's say, if you're a retired firefighter, what are you going to do with a pair of pliers, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you might like the shirt and the cups and stuff, but it doesn't make sense for me to send you a tool in every box. So I thought, what is another way I could help people show support, and and they're not getting stuff they won't necessarily have no use for.
Too, and that's also something good for people outside of the fire service that want to show support. You have those patch collectors, those coin collectors. I mean, I am not one of those people. However, in my travels and such, I have a very large piles. I'm staring at them of challenge coins that people have given me, and I appreciate so much when I get them. But it's just not my thing. So if you sent me a challenge coin every month, it would go into, I'd be like, oh, this guy sent me this. But there are people specifically that are into that kind of stuff. So that's a whole new market, which again is great business.
It's good because it also helps the firehouses, right? So like every firehouse, like they have like a commissar locker where they sell T-shirts and stuff, and that stuff gets used for gym equipment, whatever you need around the house. Whenever people come by to buy patches and coins, that it helps that firehouse. So it's just another way. It's a win-win. The collectors get something, and the firehouse, not only they get coins and patches, so I give them some for free.
And that coin and patch is going to someone who may never get to that firehouse to just buy it right from them. And you're saving on top of that, for the firefighters out there listening, you're saving the firefighters on the shipping dilemma. Yep. Which is a consistent, like, we get stuff at my house, a decent amount of like, can you ship me this? And we're like, no, we're not set up to ship. You know what I mean? Like, no one wants to really do that job, is an easy way to put it. And there's really the value in it isn't there. You know what I mean? Like, there's not that many people doing it. So if we did get all set up to do that, we probably would not make the money we put into getting set up to do that back. But if we sent you 100 patches to send out, that would be our patch in 100 different people's houses. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
I really thought you were going to say you did the EMS box, the burnout box. Is it called the burnout box? Oh, wait, he's reaching. For those folks not watching, the medic box. This dude is just full of surprises today here.
It's a sickness, man. I'm actually a partner. It's not my thing, but I'm a small partner in it. But It's something that hasn't launched yet. It's called the Medic Box. It's geared more towards the medical professionals, combat medics, like adventurers, EMTs. It's just we just had a lot of people that requested a lot of medical stuff. And
Sure.
one month I did a medical box. I did like a medical pouch, some shears. I sent it out and I got crushed by my subscribers. They're like, "What is this? It's a firefighter box." But there's a small amount of people that wanted it. So I had a buddy. He's working on something similar. So I figured, all right, maybe I could help give him give him a little consult. And
And you have those those haters out there that are like, "Why'd you send me this EMS garbage? I'm not a Band-Aid giver, right?" But that little piece of whatever you sent them, that may help them in a way that they never knew. Like, throw it in your car. Like, my answer back to all that would have been like, "Bro, throw it in your car. And if your kid gets hurt playing soccer or whatever they play, you got a bandage for them right there because no one else is going to have it, right? At least you have it. You may not know what to do with it, but at least you have it and someone else there may, right?"
somebody threatened to call the Better Business Bureau. Like so many stuff. They're like, "Oh man, you still run medical calls, right?" Like
Even if you don't, right? Because there's a lot of departments that don't run. Even if you don't,
Yeah, it was
I,
bad. It was
one
bad.
night. All right, we're gonna finish on my story before we get into the size up 10. But I'm at the firehouse and I look down the hallway and there's a guy. I'll call him a guy, even though he's younger than me, a kid. And I see him standing outside of the bathroom, and his hand is just dripping blood, like literally dripping blood. And I'm like, bro, what did you do? As I'm now like walking towards him, he was trying to break into his locker because he lost his key, and he sliced his hand open
Woo.
and got stitches. I had to like patch him up, send him to the ER. But it's just something simple like that. That like you may never run medical calls, but you could cut yourself. Wouldn't you want to have this near you in the firehouse at some point?
Yeah. Yep.
The better all right, so we got the burn box, we got your partners in the medic box, we got the what's the other one called?
FD Collectors Club.
The FD Collectors Club. Do you want to pitch anything else? I'll give you 2 minutes here for another
That's
pitch.
it.
I
No
like
more.
it. I
That's
like
it.
the
That's it.
pitches, man.
That's it. That's it.
It's like an onion. I'm unraveling layers here on the size up this month.
Actually, every morning I have to tell myself to lean back.
You
Slow it
peel the
down.
layer. You peel the layer of the onion back on in the morning. Is what you're telling me.
Once. Yep.
It's so awesome, though, Thomas. Man, this was great. I'm so happy you reached out. I'm so stoked to hang out with you at FDIC. I will not volunteer to work in your booth to help you.
Not that bad.
But if you have to go to the bathroom, I at least will call it a carabiner and not a canapé. Although I may call it a canapé just because it'll be fun to mess with people while I'm there. Now that I know the story, I will relieve you for a bathroom break, though.
Yeah, man, it'd be fun. I really am honored to be here. It was really cool, man. I've been again before I started the business, I'd be on social media looking at all firefighter-owned companies. I had the idea for like almost 2 years before I actually pulled the trigger. And that's another thing. If anyone ever wants, if you have an idea, go for it. Because I sat on it for 2 years and it turned out to it worked out. So
It's more amazing that in those 2 years, someone else didn't start one. Honestly, like,
can you hear me?
yep, you're still there. You're still there.
Yeah. So there's a few other guys out there. There was one it didn't shake out too well, and another one, the gentleman, I guess he got another job, and he actually reached out to me and asked me to take over his. It's the same exact subscription. It had a different name. It was called the Thin Line Box.
Okay.
He kind of is like, listen, I got other things going on. Can you take care of my people? And so I've been kind of running that as well. But it's all the same stuff, so.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, though, man. Like I said, I'm so happy you're able to tell your story and get yourself out there. Because, again, I think people need to hear it. And it's really important. What we do off the job does matter. And you are the truest definition of that. And now people know that. You're not just a dude throwing stuff in a box.
Yeah. And again, thanks for having me, man. Hopefully in the future we could do something together,
For sure. We'll have to figure it out. I mean, no one wants this logo on anything to wear because it's my stupid mohawk and head. So, like, I understand that.
I think it looks cool.
Well, thank you very much. But all right, you ready for these 10 questions, man? We're gonna get to know way more about you. You gotta stretch out a little bit. Get ready. They are rapid fire, but they're really not. So,
All right.
Beach or mountains? Which one do you pick?
Beach.
A night out or a night in?
Night out.
I was gonna say 3 kids. I'd be like, night out, especially a 2-year-old. Get me out of this house,
Please.
Someone please take my kids. A good book or a good movie?
Good movie.
Nice. All right, it's a tough one. Cross-country road trip. Who is your celebrity co-pilot gonna be?
Oh man, this is a Seth Rogen. I don't.
Seth Rogen. All right, no one's picked him yet. I like that. I did just lose your visual, but I have audio, so we'll keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, Seth Rogen would be fun in there. Do you make your own bed every day?
Absolutely not. In the firehouse, I do. Not at home. Shame on me.
That's all right. No shame on you, man.
I can hear the people judging me.
There's definitely judgment for it, but there's no shame in it. So, give me a book everybody needs to read.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I will have to look that one up. It's a new one by me. All right, highways or back roads? Which one are you taking?
Highways.
Got to get there, right? New York mentality.
Yep. What's going on?
A bucket list place to visit.
Rome.
Oh, very nice. I got to spend a couple hours there one day there. So it looks, I want to get back there. All right, this could be the toughest one of all, and then you got one more after this. Do you prefer football or football?
Football.
I wish I could have seen your face for that, because it just sounded like you looked back at me like, you're an idiot, dude. Why are you even asking me this question? All right, last one. The best advice you could give to your younger self?
I would say just to go for it.
Nice.
There's a lot of things that I wanted to do and I didn't do because I was analysis paralysis, so I was nervous or scared. But once I actually started going after what I wanted, things have changed.
I love it, man. That mentality of go for it is definitely the way to go. And it's something that when we're younger, we just don't understand that you just have to do that, right? And as you get older, you really like, this is what you have to do to succeed.
Yeah. Yep. I have so many things. I could rattle off the list of the things that I kind of left.
Me too. And I hate to do. Oh, you're back. Look at that. You're back. Just like that, you appeared. I do, and I could rattle off that list too. And man, this has just been a great conversation for the hour here, man. So again, I want to thank you. I'm excited to hang out with you in a few weeks here at FDIC. You know, I'm excited to see what's coming next in all these curated boxes that I now have to pay attention to and probably subscribe to after I talk to my wife and, you know, get the okay.
That's it. No more boxes. No more boxes.
No more boxes. Yeah. No more boxes.
It's an honor and a pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
Awesome, man. And thanks everybody for listening and tuning in. We want to thank all of our sponsors, especially for this episode, Frontline Optics. Make sure you check them out. Get yourself some cool shades whenever you get a chance to. And again, I'm working on this outro, but for the Size Up by National Fire Radio, this is Pip. And remember, because what you do off the job matters.
National Fire Radio.